How the May side quest works. Hello everybody. You're probably wondering, Rich, wasn't or shouldn't this video been out yesterday? Probably should have been, but Omega Days. That's the biggest thing that I decided it's probably best to focus on that content wise. But let's now focus on the side quest and also some other guides which I've got to put out as soon as possible. So you might be wondering from this particular month what is going on. It's a hodgepodge of things. Of course, we've got Omega Days right at the moment. We've got a ton of objectives, which you can see right here. We'll be referring back to some of these in a moment. We've also got other things like solo events, which will likely see you using certain champions. There is a potential bug at the moment with, I think, the crystals, but I'm sure that will be resolved. However, though, this is all about winning fights with or against Null, Void, or champions that have a similar synergy. Which, for example, if you want to do Null and Void, go to Road to Labyrinth and do this quest here. This is 1.2. I think some people are making a big mistake when they go into the 1.1. Yes, it says Vision, but it is not the Vision you think it is. You're thinking it's Vision, not Age of Ultron Vision, which that one is. So 1.2 is the best source to get a Hawkeye fight for low energy spend for maximization. However, though, you will find you're doing this quest in, well, just by doing any other bit of content, but getting at least kind of some points, which you can see, like we've got some points right there. It's an option that works if you're one of these completionist type people, but it's up to you how you want to approach it. You will end up smashing it by, I don't know, days. You may even do like a bit of questing with some of the champions mentioned in the Null and Void, and you smashed it already. It's a very easy and straightforward side quest this month. There's of course though other facets to it, like Omega Days has just gone out, and as well we've got the Incursions. I'm at the moment in the middle of an Incursions. I'm on Zone 8 of Sector 5. I like to get a lot of the lower sectors done, and especially because I want to focus the video on Magica, I'm just using this opportunity to just smash out some easy artifacts, which have got me now super close to getting a 400k, free 7 star for my trouble. So I guess the main side quest is indeed Null's lair, which is the focus really of this video. So the side quest basically boils down to this: get keys from in-game message, get 10 in total, which will be spread out in a weird kind of way. Like you might get some entries like 2 every week in game messages, but there's 10 in total, 4 weeks of the runtime of this one. So look, there may be an extra 2, or there may be a different type of entry key, possibly. Fight through Null's lair, keys consumed on entry. Mini boss contains trap nodes which buff Null. Defeat Null to earn a title and profile pick. Fully explore threat level 5 to open a single fight map with super buff Null. This is relevant for this particular point that, hey, there's 10 entries, but there's only 8 paths. So do you need a key to open up that special fight after 100%ing like the Null? We don't know just yet, but I'd assume that's how that structures and works. Complete solo objectives to earn Mysterium, which we talked about, and also spending Mysterium in the Outpost, and also other things as well. And so obviously remember the bundles reset. And this is your final month to nab some of these Trader Outpost items. I will also point out that you will probably have a trade-in at some point. The trade-in between having runestones go to getting Nightcrawler or trading them in for 7-star shards. As I haven't had the time to do Battlegrounds, Kabam expect a lot of players to do a lot of things, and I just can't get the time at the moment to separate out to do that. I managed to do everything else bar that at the moment with Battlegrounds. So it's just a case of trading in towards the end part of the month, which I can imagine that trading will come into play, especially if you've seen the guide, which links are in the description down below, and followed for the last several months. There will be season 18 of Battlegrounds going in, as well as the May Incursions, and also Paragon Gauntlet for this month. That will see your last amounts of and also buying from the side quest, last amounts of runestones to get the champion. So I can imagine in the latter parts of May, this month here, you'll see the store have that kind of, you know, buy or trade type element and narrative to it. Right, now let's focus on Null's lair. There are some extra elements and complexity to your choice around champions to take on the route, especially as the objectives call for you to use mutant and mystic based champions. I did one of the other paths, or one of the first paths, because they were easy with Mystic and Mutant champions that I felt were good counters to the likes of Venom, and also considering what would be a good counter for the end boss of Null. Go figure, Archangel was the option. You're going to see some footage in a minute showcasing the champions that I used against some of those particular fights. Some went really well, some not so well, some with input problems, and other stuff, you know, in between. It's a mixed bag. It's a smorgasbord of stuff that happens with MCOC and swiping and tapping and AI quality. So when it comes to picking champions, this will definitely consume you for a length of time to go, okay, well, I want some of these items here that you can pick up from objectives. I maybe don't. Of course, it's always good to get these particular ones. So you've got to be careful about your setup. With Agent Venom being a champion you go up against, using the likes of Bishop or any other strong mutant is going to be a very good counter for that. The same thing with going against Symbiote Supreme. You could use Parry Heavy with Archangel depending on the nodes, we'll have a look at that in a second, and also going against Anti-Venom with any kind of strong mutant. Of course, you don't want to go against class disadvantage with stuff, you want to get as advantaged as possible. You wouldn't use a Mystic against an Anti-Venom, and the same thing when it comes to like using a mutant against a tech. You probably wouldn't do it. There are of course exceptions to that matter, and that would be the likes of Magneto. Don't sleep on Magneto. Magneto House of X with the passive parry. Also, do not sleep on the idea of using Apocalypse with Cable right off the bat, which is something that we've referred to in my guide spreadsheet with a handy little quick infographic, which looks a little bit like this, showcasing some of the showcasing some of the best options that you can take per class, Mutant and Mystic, to help take on the content and form strong teams around, taking things down, and of course coming out the victor. When it comes to fighting on those paths, obviously it's going to be down to what you've got in your roster in order to take it down. If you've got class advantage, go for it. But also look into things like, well, does the champion power gain a bit? Yeah, well, I'll use a power control champion. Black Widow Clairvoyant, Doctor Doom as a quick example. Oh, the champion has a lot of buffs. Well, I'll use Absorbing Man. I'll use Rintrah. I'll use Spider-Man Supreme. Look at these champions you're facing off against in the path and figure out which ones, Mutant and Mystic, are going to be good counters to take down different things. But of course, for me, I'm very much a case of, if it has a buff, I can then nullify it or I can punish it. Hey, go for it. I can use Juggernaut. You know, I could do that. Or I could use some of the amazing mutant champions that have those persistent base abilities. The likes of Apocalypse, as we said. We've also got Mr. Sinister. That can be a great option. Recently buffed. Fantastic as well. You've got Bishop. You've got so many. Professor X. The list goes on when it comes to mutant-based champions. And of course there are mystic ones out there. But these are some of the quintessential ones that can take on a lot of this. And when you come to the end boss, and do bear in mind, because that's the other important thing as well, trap nodes, they're going to be things that will trap you and be a little bit frustrating. But in all actuality, I didn't find it too bad, especially using Archangel, just absolutely blitzes it and cheeses it. The same way any other mutant-based champion that does a lot of damage, the same thing with Mystics, can really help out against this. I would say to be mindful, if you do not like the inverted controls, using champions like Juggernaut, like Professor X, like Mr. Sinister, like Emma Frost in Telepath form can be very, very helpful to kind of mitigate that particular issue if it's becoming a bit of a frustration. Also Wiccan. I think Wiccan does reverse controls as well. Yes, I'm pretty certain it certainly does. So there's lots of options available if whatever is going to be frustrating for you. It's going to be up to you. Thank you very much for watching this video. That's how the side quest works for me. And I'll check out some other content located on screen and other videos I'm going to be producing very, very soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.